Girls Frontline 2 is probably my favorite game of the year, even though it came out in December of last year, technically. Aside from the amazing graphics, fun turn-based tactics gameplay and amazing music, I just adore Girls Frontline 2's story and way of storytelling, both in the main story and via events. The game's overall story is so well structured and told, with just enough background information and setup that even someone like me, who did not play Girls Frontline 1, can understand what is happening, why it is happening, and how characters relate to each other. Whether that be the relationships between the different girls of Hyde 404 and the tensions between older and newer members, the backstory between Groza and the commander, or the reason why every doll locks in as soon as Paradeus is mentioned. Even though my knowledge of the first game is extremely limited, it both does not hold my hand and explain every single detail, nor does it just assume I know everything that happened in the first game's insanely long story, though I should probably dive into it in my own time at some point. What also helps a ton with my enjoyment of the game are the multitude of events we've gotten and their associated stories, as unlike in many other similar games, a few of the larger events in Girls Frontline 2 are essential parts of the main story, often acting as new chapters that continue after the 8 chapters of the campaign, furthering that story and adding new plot points. While many events like Halting Station or Escape from Cyborg tell side stories to the main plot, introducing or fleshing out new and old dolls alike, it's the big events like Amidst Wings of Grey and Alphalion that push the story forward and can honestly be seen as new chapters of the campaign in their own right, as they seamlessly slot into previous main story chapters and often are heavily linked to the side stories from before. This creates one big cohesive story in this world, and I think this way of storytelling is absolutely brilliant. Each story is connected just right to the main story, be it Rhapsody Quartet and its fleshing out of the Cafe Gang, or Escape from Cyborg fleshing out Team B of Hyde 404, who all make appearances in the bigger events which shape the main story. This also keeps the world and story of Girls Frontline 2 rather small, which I prefer. It's not hard to figure out where or when each side story takes place, or how they relate to each other. This makes it both easy to follow and easy to flesh out, as almost every event strengthens what comes before and after. This wasn't always the case, however. Girls Frontline 2 might be completely new for most of us, but in China it's already released all the way back in late 2023. When the CN version launched, the narrative of the side stories was completely different and focused a lot more on stories focusing only on the T-dolls, where the commander played a passive role and wasn't really involved a lot. This can be seen in the original versions of Diane and Centaurasius events, which were originally completely standalone stories, with no links to the main story or the commander whatsoever. This, alongside some accusations of cheating elements, sparked a lot of criticism from the CN player base, prompting the developers to completely rewrite these stories and linking them to the main story. These rewrites is how we got both Amidst Wings of Grey and Bitter Thorns and Daisies, which now act as preludes between chapter 8 and 9 of the main story, and thus focus a lot more on their relationship and backstory between the dolls and the commander. And future events have, just like in the global version, focused more on the commander's story and the doll's part in them, but rewrites do take their toll on the game. For instance, the order of events is completely different between the CN and global servers, as Global's first event was Sojourners of the Glass Island, whilst we haven't even received the events starring Lena and Yangju, which were early in CN's lifetime, and are probably still being rewritten or completely redone from the ground up to fit the current story. Aside from this meaning I still don't have my beloved UMP9, it also means that we do not know where these stories will slot in the main story, if at all. This is especially a shame for Lena, as she already has a substantial role in the main campaign, so it would be a shame for her event to either be a side story or be a weird stopgap or interlude during a lower period. Furthermore, as of writing, it's still not possible to replay older events, including the events that further the main story like Alphalion. This means that players who start the game now, finish the campaign and enter an important future story event will have no idea what happened beforehand. This is a problem inherent to limited time events that many games, especially live service gacha games, have. While there is a literal past events tab in the campaign section of the game, it's still unavailable at the moment. It's safe to assume that essential events will be added to this tab in order to give every player the full story experience, but I also wonder how the developers will get new players to actually play these stories, especially if newer events with side activities and shops are running at the same time. Without good rewards, I doubt new players will play it purely for the story. Maybe it's an idea to include one of the weapon skins from the store of the event as a reward. These small problems and questions do not take away from the fact that Girls Frontline 2 has stellar storytelling, thanks to its usage of events and side stories. I've not felt this engaged in a story from a newish gacha game in a long time, and I'm excited to see where the main story goes. Also, give me AK-15 already, please, Micah, I beg. Anyway, what do you think of the way Girls Frontline 2 handles storytelling in its events? Do you like its approach in furthering the main story? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, as I post regular deep dives into the games I love.